These are micro adjust belts, handmade right here in the shop by us. Premium leather, solid brass hardware, and the rounded buckle so it doesn't dig into your gut all day. But what is micro adjust? Well, the one problem everyone always has with their belts is one hole's too tight, one's too loose. These little adjustments right here allow you to adjust your belt by 1/2 inch increments so it fits you exactly how you want for the lifetime of the belt. So check them out below. I've got probably the weirdest pair of New Balances that I've ever seen. And I'm not even convinced they're unisex. They say they're for men. I don't know. And also random Under Armour that caught my eye, and somewhat relates to some projects I'm working on. And so when I work on projects, I like pulling inspiration from types of footwear that you might not pull inspiration from for different types of footwear. Like for instance, like the Warsaw collaboration. Danner mountain boots combined with a skate shoe made like that Warsaw, and we sold out of those like within a couple days. So I like that cross-boundary disruption. So yeah, I'll buy just random stuff that will be for research, for projects, or whatever. I was like, okay, maybe it's time to start bringing people in on the design stuff, because I think we're at a point where people will always try to rip us off no matter what we do, because so many people and so many brands can't innovate themselves, so they just look for other people innovating and then try to jump on their hype or their coattails and try to ride it. And it's really hard for a small brand to protect stuff because you don't have the money to protect it, you don't have the authority to protect it, you don't have the following to like call people out. But now we're at the point where I'm like, I think we can mostly protect our projects, and I've always wanted to kind of bring people along for the design process and that journey. So this is my attempt at doing that. We'll see if it works. We'll see if people just try to knock off everything we do or not, but either way, it's fun. It's part of my most favorite things to do with this business, and a huge part of the reason why I started. I love design. Being a YouTuber, not my favorite. I'll do it. It's fine. Running a business, I enjoy it. It's not, like the whole reason I'm doing all this is to just design and do that artistic side of design. So hopefully I'll be able to start bringing people along for the ride. Up first, so these are for 2 different projects. So I've got a project that almost came out this year. We were gonna collaborate with someone, but it fell apart for good reason. And a lot of times when stuff falls apart, it ends up being the right way to do it. So I usually don't get too concerned if a collaboration falls through, or if I don't end up working well with the brand. It'll work down the road. And so we put that one on the back burner for the year. So it'll probably come out next year. But we're calling it. Can I release the name? I think I can. We're calling it the Bully Boot. And this is a project that Taylor and I have worked on basically since the first year Taylor started working here, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I'll go over more why it's called the Bully Boot in a future video. So part of that is trying to figure out, the project of the Bully Boot is trying to figure out how to make a pull-on boot different and unique and in a way that nobody's done before, or just like a new variation of like the shit kicker, your backdoor boot, the pair you throw in your truck, your travel boots. And so I was at Sportsman's Warehouse and I saw these and I was like, those look cool. Like, I'm just gonna buy these for a little inspiration, for design lines, for how they're using certain aspects. So what are they? These. Like, what the heck? Freaking boots? Yes, because I think that's part of where we can really do that cross-boundary disruption. I think there's something here. I think there's some elements that we could pull from this boot and other like bog boots, muck boots, like deck boots. There's like 5 or 6 main different types of small little pull-on boots. And so I've just been collecting the versions that I liked, with little cool design lines with nice sweeps up here, and how they articulate this and where they bring the lines together. And that's about as much as I want to talk about the project, because people are sneaky. They're sneaky. So just a quick little teaser on those. But also for these, I was like, oh, I want to try them as kind of like the backdoor boot. Does this concept work with having like a little pull-on boot like this? And ultimately that Bully Boot will probably put on our Rose Anvil last. And this is version 4, and as you can see, we've even since iterated and tried to change some things. You can see I filled this in with some cork just to fill in some of that instep, because this whole project's been really interesting. We took the original Munson last, we've slowly been adjusting it piece by piece and converting it into a sneaker last, and that does a couple of really cool things for us. It allows me to figure out what the actual differences are functionally between a boot last and a sneaker last as we drop the instep, as we widen this, as we do that. And it's been a really cool project, and I've learned a lot. And so this is like the most recent version, but we're also, I'm gonna record a video updating you guys on all the new variations and where we're going with this and what the next version is gonna look like and what we need to adjust. But the bully boot will probably be built on this last. This is the Bandit, our dual camera harness, the most comfortable way to carry all your camera gear, save your back. But not only is it cool for saving your back, it also comes with solid brass hardware, premium American tan leather, but more importantly, instead of those straight straps you see in most of the camera harnesses, this actually contours to your body, flows with your body, allowing you to distribute the weight of these cameras over a larger surface area. And if that's too much, you got these little hip clips in our solid brass hardware, attach them to your hip, pull all that weight off your shoulders, and we make every single one of these right here in the shop by me and my crew. So check out our Bandit camera harness and save your back a little pain. So then, what is this? Tokyo Design Studio, the New Balance. Well, I saw these and I was like, ooh, that shape is really similar to the shape of our sneaker last. And so I was like, okay, let's buy those and see how they feel when you walk around in them, see what they're doing, what these shoes are even for, and let's check them out. Minimus. Road less equals more. NB Minimus products incorporate minimal midsole and outsoles that have no inserts. This construction provides enhanced ground feel and comfort. Natural position. The NB Minimus shoe positions the wearer's foot in a more neutral stance, which encourages a midfoot strike. Light and right. The NB Minimus running shoe, oh, it's a running shoe, has been, barely, been carefully engineered to deliver performance in an extremely lightweight package. Look at these. What the heck are these? They look like water shoes. They look like lady slippers. They look anatomical. They got this really cool outsole pattern. And these things are weird, but I really like the shape of them. And I wore them around a little bit last night just to get a feel for them. And because I would never really wear these, I was like, maybe want to try them on. They'll look fine, but they just look like girls' water shoes to me. But they're cool because you've got like the rubber foxing. You've got like this really soft outsole. They're anatomical without being super wide. And what I want to do is literally right now cut this top off because I want to see what that insole shape looks like. I want to see how close it is. And like if we're on the right path for this shape, because I love the way these felt. I wore them around a little bit and I love the whole, they're still hugging your foot and not squeezing your toes together, but also not so wide that your toes are slipping around all over the place. That's what I'm trying to find, that middle ground between the classic almondy shape shoes that everyone's been wearing for the last 100 years, combining it with, oh, did I rip that? I must have ripped that at some point without realizing it. All right, New Balance, let's see if that's, how did I rip that? I wasn't even paying attention. Oh my gosh. Yikes, New Balance. This takes no pressure. That took a little more pressure, but that's not very much pressure. Jeez, New Balance. That wasn't very smart. Just putting some, oh, what the hell, New Balance? New Balance usually makes really well thought out stuff. I can literally tear this apart. Oh my gosh. That rips easier than paper. What? I don't think I've ever seen leather that weak before. It's because it's the belly of the suede. Wow. What the heck? That's the weakest leather I've ever seen on any shoe. And we have like a good relationship with New Balance too. Come on, New Balance. What is this shit? Other parts are stronger, but that is insane. Anyway, careful with these. What was I saying? I wore them around, I like the feel of them. So I literally want to cut the top off and see how close our last is to this. Because I can almost kind of just slip the whole thing in there. And it's not that we want to copy it exactly or anything, or not that we're gonna try to make ours look like or fit like this, but I'm trying to see how a similar shaped last feels on other styles of footwear. Because it's hard to actually prototype what the last is gonna feel like, because we don't really have the capabilities to make a full-on shoe. And so what we've done, me and Taylor started just knocking out a couple little slippers. This is actually the Jim Green Trooper quarter, and just lasted it between a veg tan insole and a little vibrant rubber outsole. And we've been running through a bunch of samples. I think we've done like probably 10 or so of these little slippers. Just dialing in like, okay, where's the pressure? Where do we need to have a little more room? And that's where we figured out we need a little more room over the top of the toes, because when you drop a last for a boot, that toe is pretty low because your foot's at an angle. But as you lower that, you need a lot more room over top the instep. And I never would have figured that out unless we literally converted a boot last to a sneaker last. And so that's how we've been kind of testing them, and we'll go over more of that when we do the actual last update video. So now let's cut this leather upper off, because I was hyped about it, because this is like a leather upper, leather lined. They just used the wrong freaking leather. I should just go get my actual cutting knife, but too lazy. Yeah, look at that. That is very close. Yes. Okay. So that gives me a good idea of what this last is actually going to feel like. It's not identical. You can see that right from about here to about there is almost identical. There's a little bit of more bump right here on ours. You know, there's kind of comes to more of a point. Ours has a little bit more of that Munson-y little squared off toe. And then from here and here back, we've got a lot more width. Maybe not a lot, a few millimeters of width right through there. See how that continues to come out versus the black underneath sweeps in. And I think that makes sense for this shoe because you're trying to hug that forefoot a little bit more. But for me, I'm making this last not for athletics. I'm making it for comfort while still looking good. Yeah, that's pretty freaking spot on. So when it comes to how this last will eventually feel and look, so it's definitely gonna have that similar look of Anatomy. You know, like it's kind of a wonky looking shoe shape. You know what I mean? Like it still is very, very, very straight on the big toe and it's super wide through here. So it kind of has a weird look. But to me, it doesn't look nearly as crazy as any of the like true barefoot stuff, even like compared to the Gym Greens. The Gym Greens are really nice and wide, but they do a good job of not being so crazy anatomical. And they just released a true anatomical last, if you haven't seen that. So that gives me a lot of hope, because I'll wear a shoe that's that shape, because you can get away with hiding the width with this. But as for the quality, this shoe looks like it's really decent quality, like thick leather on the lining, thick upper leather. Should we see how bad this leather is right here? Oh my gosh, I was hoping it was just one half of it. What the heck was that? We might have to just do a main channel video on this just to call this out. That is crazy. I've never seen a shoe fail that bad before. Someone didn't do their job. Someone didn't test the product. And even up through here, look how loose that leather is right there. So really bad choice of leather on this. That's rough, New Balance. That is a failed product, through and through. That is a failure of a product. So maybe you'll see this on the main channel, because that is really, really bad. So anyway, thanks for listening to all that. You know, it's just kind of like the fun of the backside of Rose Anvil you don't get to see very often, is kind of like playing with things, figuring out what works, dissecting things for us internally, and hopefully you can see kind of the fun of it. So check this, give this video a like, give us a sub if you want. You know, if we get interest in this kind of video, I'll do more of it next year and like really bring you along for some of the design processes and the concepting. So that's it. You might see us on the main channel. Be on the lookout eventually. We're gonna drop this in some collaboration or something at some point when we get it all finished. Be on the lookout for like the official breakdown of where we're at with the last. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank you guys. See ya.